Look how he's slouching over. Closed posture will make you lose any conversation. Subconsciously, we perceive people who are slunched, houched. They're perceived as fearful, timid, incapable. What else? What else does your mother tell you? The most predator are the most confident, most dominant. The ones that are the most prey are the most fearful and timid. You don't want to be slouchy, looking down, checking those, vitals. Weak. I watched 100,000 sales pitches so that I could give you 11, maybe 12 body language hacks, body language magic tricks that will take your ability to be confident and charismatic from here all the way to here. You'll probably hate me if I do this. Rigid in your pointing, you are perceived as too stiff and too rote. All I'm doing is just I relax a tiny bit and I go from like a rigid one finger point to just open hand. Always point without breaking eye contact. Add this one subtle gesture. So you go from here to now you're pointing a little bit, but then you look away and then you look back. You will control the person's eye contact on the other side of the conversation. I got something to tell you. Okay, I got kind of a secret. And then I look away and you're going to look, you will 100% of the time look away with me if you haven't already. And then I'm looking back at you as you make eye contact with me again. By you making eye contact with me at that last turn, I have both effectively controlled your look away and controlled your look back at me, and I'm in control of the conversation the rest of the time. Watch this. This is the possession principle.
Seeing stuff like that on television before and to be part of it was really special.
It's cool, right?
It's beyond cool.
Yeah. Thank you for...
Look how he puts his hands on Will Smith here. It's like, dude, I'm gonna kill you. He could say anything and he would just be that is amazing. That's possession principle with people, possession principle with things. I know this is yours, but while I'm here, this is my house, okay? I own this. Welcome to my office. We're on my terms. You can ask any questions you want, but we are on my terms in this interview. What's so interesting about this is Tom Cruise is so small, but he just owns everyone. Terrifying, especially if you watch that Scientology documentary where you realize he's probably just acting his whole life. Subtle head nods during conversations increase engagement and trust by 38%, particularly when affirming statements. One of the weirdest things you can do is have a weird head nod, that's bobbly or you head nod too much. Yeah. If you're overly engaged in head nods in a conversation, it's weird. And it's because of mismatch of messaging. The more subtle, the better. And the more aligned with your message, the better. We saw this as most effective when communicating with people. You could predict that someone was going to be more persuasive in their messaging if there was alignment in the gestures that they were making as they were making certain points that matched the words they were trying to get across. Head nodding is a hard one to get right. I would not recommend trying to manufacture a good head nod, okay? Just let the head nods come naturally unless you have a bobblehead, in which case don't do anything with your head. Just stand still, completely still. Stand still, also keep your head still. Research indicates that slow movements are linked to lower cortisol levels. If you want to lower your cortisol with your body language, move slower. And higher testosterone in individuals. If you want higher testosterone, also move slower. This is so obvious. Having observed 100,000 sales pitches, you have to be perceived as confident, in control, persuasive, perfect, professional is the other P word I was looking for, but warm and friendly at the same time. If you're moving fast, you're not going to have anyone respect you. If you move slow and controlled with the right amount of abrupt movement, game over for anything you want anyone to do, really, which is why it's extremely important that you're a good person if you're good at that. And anyone that is good at it, you should totally question their motives and intentions, including my own, because I do want to make so much money off of you. Like and subscribe. It actually would be really helpful if you guys left a comment. What would you like to see analyzed about body language? I know so much about this, but I'm such a nerd. I'm really self-conscious about what people will think. Whatever you guys want to see, I'd really love to know.
Stop standing like a nerd.
Wait, hold on. Stop standing like a nerd.
To look more attractive.
I see what he did there.
Standing, they look awkward. This just looks weak and submissive. So instead, what you want to do is offset your feet, then lean back slightly on your.
Oh, dude, this guy is doing the swag stance. Must have followed my dominance approachability matrix. High dominance, high approachability, high confidence, high warmth. There's a bunch of things here that make this not dominant. So the way his eyes is, how he's kind of shrugging his shoulders. For someone that's very unconfident, they're going to be really covering their vitals. Look at this stance, a lot more relaxed. When we would teach salesmen, basically you would have them just shoulders back, kind of head up, chin neutral to up. Relax your shoulders. Now you can kind of play anywhere as long as you're leaning in on one foot, like you belong there, like it's your office. That's the best way to be perceived the most confident. Have I ever told you how men and women perceive body language differently when it comes to confidence? If you're standing in front of a man and you are a male, don't square up. You need to have your shoulders at probably a 45-degree angle. If a male is standing in front of a female, you want to be standing straight on. If you're standing to the side, they're subconsciously wondering what you're hiding. You stand straight on. They're far more likely to trust you. And you know what? I actually don't know what it is from female to male. You guys should look this up. up and comment it though. If I was a betting man, which I am currently not a betting man, what would I say? If you're a female trying to convince a male to do something, you would want to stand straight on with them as well. Men tend to just like when females exert dominance. Also, don't make the rules with this. This is like pretty easy to see. And if you're a female trying to convince a female to do something, ooh, I bet you also want to be straight on. It's the female thing. Yeah, guys, I think it's just different for men and women. You care differently how they're standing in front of you. If you're a woman, you probably want everyone that's trying to persuade you to be standing straight on. Otherwise, you're wondering what they're hiding, is what I would guess. I don't know. If you guys know, you should comment. You know, the CIA is trying to manipulate you when they're talking about how to be slow and controlled.
People that are supremely confident, when they enter the room,
supremely
they
confident,
feel comfortable in that room. Their gestures are smooth, but they're very...
Okay, Oprah, though, is extremely good at this body language thing. She's amazing.
They're very broad, and that has to do with confidence. For a lot of people, this is very difficult.
One of my favorite things is analyzing body language experts. He has kind of a subtle head bob. There's some pretty hard stats on deliberate, slow movements increases perceived confidence by 38%. Having observed 100,000 plus sales pitches in the richest neighborhoods in America, your body language matters so much. It matters everywhere. It just matters more there because of how confident people are. I would not be surprised if it increases by like 60 or 70%, if not more. If you have high certainty in your words, your body language, and your tonalities are aligned, you will transfer certainty to someone. If you have like fear, timidity, and you're just like, you know, like fidgety that's how the other person will feel. If you're extremely sincere and you communicate that sincerity with like thoughtfulness and respect, then people will easily feel it. You're just like, you're aligning. If you've got like a story, if you have a mystery, okay, that is intriguing, mystery and intrigue, secret to tell somebody, they will feel it. Whatever your message aligns to will be easily received by the other person, no matter what. And it will literally transfer to them how you feel. When it comes to people following your lead, it's helpful to match the feeling of their body language. If I am standing straight up and I show that I don't trust you, I cross my arms, I lean in, I'm like, yeah, okay, prove it. Do something similar back. Like maybe I go like this and I'm like, hey, so listen, I got something that you're gonna really like. And then I open up, so I've matched you, and then I open up. I actually genuinely think you're going to love this. Okay, so check this out. So you don't want to go down to their level. That's their level of conviction, which is like, yeah, prove it to me. You're not going to. Those skeptical. What you do want to do is bring them up to your level. You'll see that anyone who's leading anyone does this. They meet people where they're at, bring them up to their level. The study at Ohio State University that showed if you had an upright posture, you were perceived as 37% more competent and 34% more confident, more of an expert, and as more confident in your expertise, you're more highly likely to be transacted with if you're confident and competent than those with like poor posture or slouching type posture. Also, they're perceived as having more leadership potential. Leaders are just generally perceived as confident and warm, dominant and approachable. I kind of took that framework and mapped it onto body language and onto tonal structures, actually, like underlying meta messages of the tonalities. It's perfectly applicable. It also can tell you what types of people you can sell to or most easily interact with, depending on where you land on that matrix. Confidence and approachability. Your body language is by far the most underrated part of your communication because it's the most subconscious. If you want to be perceived as a more powerful communicator, you have to have more open, confident body language. We can map out exactly what this looks like: warmth, dominance, confidence, approachability. You're either persuading or being persuaded in your life. You can persuade anyone to do anything. It doesn't matter what your intentions are in your persuasion, which is why it's so dangerous. You have to become so good in your personal life, private victories, where you win in the dark when no one is watching. When your actions and your words match and you care about delivering on those actions and words, you follow through. If you live that way in your own personal life and you have the best of intentions for people around you because you truly want what is in their best interest, not just to manipulate them for your selfish means, you will be far more effective at getting people to do things that are good for them and in their best interest. If in fact you know what that is, and we should never pretend that we actually do, right? You'll be far more effective at getting them to make decisions if you have confident, warm, dominant, approachable body language. It's that simple. They're either being persuaded by someone else or by you, and whoever's persuading them has the competency of confident body language. It might as well be you, but maybe don't persuade, maybe inspire them because of the way that you live, and then how you communicate that as you try to help them. If you scroll this video just up slightly and then you click, it's not obvious what to click. There's going to be some words that say maybe more or like a ... You just click on that, go right down about yay down. There's a link. Click that link And then I want you to just slowly, mesmerizingly follow me to put your email, your, what do we have? Phone number, name in no particular order, and then any other personal information you'd be willing to give me so I can retarget you. You want to do this because you're going to learn the 5 ways to cut through smoke screens. You cut through smoke screens, you handle objections. Smoke screens are where people are lying to you. Objections are where people are not lying to you, but they still don't want to buy from you. And you can cut through them with the best closes to close out those deals for those specific smoke screens. It's a pretty cool tool. And the cool part for me is that I can sell you other cool tools that you will pay money for, because this one's free and you would pay money for it based on how effective it is. So I'm not asking you to marry me, okay? That's for sure, because I can't. But what I am saying is, if this stuff works even half as good for you as it did with everyone else that I watched, the hundreds of thousands of sales pitches, hundreds and hundreds of sales reps who had no business being good at closing. I just hate when people say this. These guys were the freaking lowest IQ people I'd ever worked. They're like absolute. So confident, dominant personalities, tenacious, ambitious people who are going after their goals. They use these things. They work even half as good for you as they work for them. You're going to be extremely impressed, and you're going to be extremely persuasive. I mean, these were like college kids making like millions of dollars. It's like, so many people lie about this stuff. They had so many Ferraris. No, lots of rental properties though in their early 20s because of having learned this stuff. That's for sure. Yeah, so many Ferraris. It's like, dude, why? You don't need a Ferrari. Yeah, you don't. You could do so much good with the money that it would take to lease a Ferrari.